Hey, family. I hope that everybody is feeling good today. It's super rainy, been rainy all week, probably since I got back from that. But it's been raining. And let me tell y'all, it's been a lot. But I know we get ready to go into this winter season. We still in the fall. So I'm going to do something different today. Okay, hold on. Okay. All right. So my baby, well, he ain't a baby no more, but well, he always gonna be my baby. He got his last football game of the season today, so getting ready to go and do that here shortly. But I am going to shuffle our period power cards, and I'm going to use both winter and autumn today. So I am on day 3 of my cycle, and let's see what came out. Connection, okay, came out in the first, and that's in the inner winter. And I'm gonna also pull our angel number cards, angel whispers. But I'm super excited because like my big boys are at practice, and I had them to. I'm like, listen, we going. This is last game, right? And as mama, we got to make sure that we keep everybody connected. And I'm gonna do a little something different today with our moon cycle Monday, because I've been really experiencing some really high level energy lately. 333 came out, y'all. So I'm gonna rock with that because I've been experiencing some very high level energy lately, and been doing a lot of Bible study. And 777 was on the bottom. I saw that on my way back here today from riding around looking for a vehicle. Cause I don't know if I told everybody. Like, did y'all know? Like, yeah, maybe 2 weeks ago I had a little, not a fender bender. Somebody actually like sideswiped my car, and so I was out car shopping earlier, and I saw 777, and I really understand like that there are some things that are taking place right now in the etheric realm, in the crystals, you know, and I can't help but to say Jesus Christ is doing what he do, right? And so a lot of the Bible study has been because foundationally I've been always aware, right, of the spiritual principalities of that foundation, and the beauty in that book. No matter how we've looked at it or whatever over time, there has been a lot of things that could be done either way, right? And that's within any context of any spiritual book. There are people who are going to use it for good, and there are people who are going to use it for things not so good. And what I've come to a consensus of, you know, that may be contradictory to people who may have known me in the past because of my level of consciousness, right? But I understand and I know that there are certain things that have shown up in my life spiritually that have confirmed for me that this is the lifestyle that God has created for me. And I'm gonna go ahead and get this thumbnail real quick just so I can have that when I do I put this on YouTube. But so I am so excited because this past Sunday I went to church with my second oldest. He's got a Bible study group at his school that him and his friends do at lunchtime with other students to help them to understand and build their relationship with God. And it's so funny because I never thought that he would be that person doing that. And then I have to tell myself, like, how could you not? Like, he was the one little in front of the TV, blah, 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 blah. Because we used to be watching, TBN and all the church channels and stuff when they were little. And I used to, he used to be in the front of the TV, being a minister. But the other part of it is that his birthday is August 17th, which is Marcus Garvey's birthday. And, he was a minister. And so I think about all these things now in hindsight that God was preparing me for this, moment in time. Like, it's a revelation for me. And this is also a revelation for me to be able to come to you guys and talk to you all about the connection between your menstrual cycle and the connection that it has to Christ consciousness. Like, the Old Testament, right, is the divine masculine, and the New Testament is the divine feminine, because we had this patriarchal construct that came in that was really ravishing and hard, and now we've got this really soft and easy, construct that's coming in through Christ, which is through his mother, right, that allowed him to really come in and show the divine feminine as such. And I'm excited about that connection. So when we got the connection card, it was really big for me, as well as the 333, because that's the time we start our sessions every week. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull my notes up, because today we're gonna talk about balancing the scales. And it's October 27, 2025. And I'm super excited because there are so many things that have been coming to me, because I told y'all last week that my cycle was off and I had a false bleed. Haven't had that happen, I don't believe, ever, right? But the week before, I wasn't feeling well, had the norovirus or whatnot, because it was like a 24, 48-hour virus going around in the city. One of my kids brought it home and it just spread throughout the house. And I started having my cycle, and I was like, why am I having a cycle? But I looked it up, and it's not something that is out of the ordinary that happens. And I was like, whoa, this is really deep. I didn't go too much into it last week, and I'm still doing my research about it to be able to share it later. But then my actual cycle came a couple of days ago, and I was like, oh my God. So I've had 2 cycles basically in this month of October, and I feel like God is balancing the scales for me. And there's this law of rhythm and return that's coming back, because we've got to get into the rhythm, into the song, into the music, of our divine feminine, so that we can really usher in the return that we say we really want. And I want to just say that, and I'm so grateful to be here in this moment with you all, because, where 2 or 3 are gathered in my name, I'm there in the midst of them. Matthew 18:20. And I say that to say, sometimes, we feel like, oh, well, it's not a lot of people on there, so we're not being heard. I don't care if it's just one person on here, because that's what God told me. Don't worry about that. If it's just one person on here, let that one person be someone who is hearing, what it is that you're doing in this work, because that's really what it's about. And so I'm excited about it, and I'm feeling myself right now, and I'm feeling myself being filled up. How about that? And so I'm excited about the opportunity to be able to come before y'all and really tap in. So I'm gonna put my phone up here so that I can also see if there are comments that come through, because I can't see the comments for some reason still on the other side. But welcome, 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 welcome. Okay, welcome to the Pretty Period community. For those of you who have never been here before, my name is Rashonda LeGrand, and I'm the owner of Pretty Period Boutique, and we're located in Northeast Oklahoma City, where we provide eco-friendly period products, as well as custom eco-friendly jewelry to help you to track your moon cycle, as well as digital products. And you can find those at stand.store/pretty period. Okay. And so today we're going to honor ourselves by understanding what these moon cycles represent. And I believe we're still in this Libra moon energy. I'm not 100% sure because when I first got this, I believe that we were. And I'm going to fact check that right quick. Uh, okay. Okay, today we are in the moon is in Capricorn, and it is a waxing crescent moon phase. Okay, so because I had took these notes at that time, it's still gonna mesh, it's still gonna measure, it's still gonna measure. Okay, because what we're talking about here is we have to read the information, and I've been having these conversations with a really good friend of mine, and one of the things that we came to consensus with is the word read. Is not always about what you are reading, right? But read can also be a something used for measurement. And so when we talk about sacred balance and being able to give as well as receive, that's the balance that we're looking for. So we're going to step into this divine alignment today, and we're going to talk about the number 3 and how it represents completion and the trinity of our body, our mind, and our spirit. And then we're going to take a deep dive, and we're going to invite the spirit to sit with us and to still us into this rhythm so that we can really pause for a moment, okay? And before we get into that, we always do our breath work so that we can really get into this reflection. And I want to pause just for a few seconds. I want you to take a deep breath in. If you are safe and you're not driving, just listen to the sound of my voice. But if you are able to take just a few seconds to just sit and take a deep breath in and hold it. And then we're going to exhale. We're going to take another deep breath in and exhale. And what I want you to think about is that we should be able to take in enough for ourselves, but we should be able to give more, right? And that's what those breathing techniques are about. It's like, get yourself full, right? So that you can have your fill. And then let that overflow just come right on out of you so that you can really be able to sit and feel that energy and that rhythm. And that's what the rhythm of life is about. Abundance is day to day, And so when we think about how we can really tap into our cycles, we can reflect on it in this way, right? That to everything there is a season and a time for every purpose under heaven. And that's Ecclesiastes 31. And I want to talk about that because I feel like most of us have lost our connection in our hormones, in our habits, in our hearts. And that's where this card comes in. And we're going to read about this connection, right? It's some cultures and religions consider periods to be unclean and place prohibitions on menstruators while they are bleeding. But there's also communities where menstrual blood is a sign of power. Now is the time to connect the 800 million menstruators who are bleeding with you at the same time. Your superpower. As you come out of winter, you may experience a quiet knowing, an inner focus and resolve, making it a great time to get clear about what you want to bring attention to and energy in this cycle and intention, right? So when our hormones are out of whack, when our habits are not really on routine, when our hearts are misaligned, right? Our menstrual cycle is going to mirror that balance. It's either going to be balanced or it's not, right? So we have to be able to understand the seasonal shifts and each of its purpose, you know, in this realm that we live in. So when we talk about the follicular phase, right, we're talking about renewal and rebirth. When we talk about ovulation, we're talking about the radiance of our bodies, right, and the releasing of that egg so that we can be able to continue to procreate, whether it's a physical human or something in the spirit that we want to be made manifest, right? So then when we get to the luteal phase, that's when we start to reflect and refine. If we're not able to conceive it, it's because a lot of times it's lost in our inability to relax, which is what menstruation is about the rest and restoration. That's where we are able to be redeemed, right? And so in that aspect, we have to be able to really understand, where are we in that space, right? So our superpower, as you come out of winter, our danger, you can experience a coming home into yourself during your winter, but you may feel the frustration of wanting to do something in the world, but not necessarily knowing what it is. You know, think about this and ask yourself, where in your life are you overgiving? If you don't have your pretty period moon cycle journal, you need to go ahead and get it so you can keep all this information logged in. You can have the data, right? Then you ask yourself, where am I under receiving? What energy needs to be rebalanced before you move into your next ovulatory glow? Because if you just start putting out energy without really understanding the cyclical part of where you are and how you need to be using that energy for every purpose, right? We're talking about as above, so it's below. You know, for if you don't want to use biblical context, right? We could go hermetic. You know, we can use whatever context we want to use. But the purpose under heaven means, like, heaven is what you make it and hell is what you go through. And if you want to create heaven, you got to create balance. You got to find equilibrium. And you got to understand where your life is and where you're overgiving, because when you start to overgive, then you start to deplete yourself. And that's a part of your habits, right? But also, if you're under receiving, meaning you're not getting the fulfillment that you need, you got to check your heart. And the balance of that comes in our hormones. So the self-care plan, the charity plan in UK reports that 1 in 10 girls ages 14 to 21 in the UK have been unable to afford menstrual products. If you're in a position where you're able to donate money or menstrual products, give to organizations in this field. Let me tell you, we have a period pantry here at Pretty Period, if you didn't know it. And we're doing something really unique this Halloween. So we're going to have a trick-or-treat pop-up where individuals could come. Of course, we're going to have treats and candy and all that stuff, music, whatever, refreshments. But people can come and get free period products at no cost, right? And we're not giving away a whole big box of products for everybody. But we do have 10 standard cycle beads that we're going to be giving out to individuals, the first 10 people that come, because we want to make sure that we are rebalancing, that we're allowing people to understand and know that they have access, right? Because when we have more, we're supposed to give in the abundance that we have, not overgive, but we're supposed to be sharing. And even with this information today, I think this cycle reflection for me is me being able to share. I had a friend tell me once that 10% of what you tell a person, 90% of it is for you. So I can't tell y'all to do X, Y, Z if I'm not going to do it for myself, right? And what I want for myself, I should want for my sisters. And you can take that, you know, and do whatever you want to do with it, because what I'm talking to you about is the potential. And we're going to get into this angel whisper. Your chance to reach your highest potentials is here. Perseverance has gotten you to where you are, and you have been through so much, and this guidance is here to show you that you are exactly where you need to be. Affirmation: my potential is infinite. I use my strength as my ally to pursue my highest good. Ain't that all God wants? Ain't that all Jesus came to do, is to be the fulfillment of his highest good, and to show and tell us that we can do it too? Is that we can get the same support, right? That we got the same potential. And what we say, we don't deal with people for potential. We need to know that you're in alignment with your purpose. But you can't get to your purpose until you understand that you got the potential to get there. And I think that this is where this piece comes in, and y'all gonna be like, oh my God, she just Bible thumped us all over the place today. And I am, and it's okay, because it says a false balance is an abomination to the Lord, but just weight is his delight. That's Proverbs 11:1. Do you know what that means? That false balance is an abomination. It means like you can't be too good. You can't be too good, right? You have to be able to be just in your weight, because you can't do enough good, right? You can't do enough, because when you think that you do, oh, I have no qualms. I don't, that's false toxic positivity stuff. That's not real, because God created dark and light. So we got to walk in the balance. It's day and night. We got to walk in the balance. We bleed and we ovulate. We got to walk in the balance. And especially as women, because we are a different kind of portal than our male counterparts. We can call on every element in the universe, in the ethers, and bring that stuff down. But we got to be able to understand that we can't be over there in the dark doing all the work, doing all the rituals, that don't bring the balance down in the purpose under heaven, so that it can be beneficial for the people working in the light. But there's also the balance of, you got to have both, because otherwise what? You would not know what to do. You would not know what wrong was if you didn't have an experience with it, right? And so as the moon waxes and wanes and does all the things, it mirrors the Creator's justice system. And it gives you this cyclical process and the divine checks and balances that govern all creation, under the sun, under the light of the moon, which one day we won't even need that, because we'll be governing under a specific balance, right? And I wanted to just kind of get that even the water, even the tides in the ocean obeys this rhythm. And if you've never noticed, I got to take this note so I can have it for next week. When the moon is full, emotions rise. So when we have a full moon, right, and the emotions are rising up, that is the draw, the magnetism of the moon. So when your hormones feel off and your emotions are swinging, remember, you're not broken. You're balancing. You're doing a balancing act. Because if you treat your womb like it's your inner sanctuary, it's the place where our spirituality, right, and our physical laws meet together. That's when we can start to treat our wombs better, right? We can start to harness the magnetism of our wombs differently. And I'm looking over because I know my youngest is going to be dropped off here in a little bit. But I want to really think about that. And I want to take a minute to pause and journal this, because when your womb is your inner sanctuary, your womb is your altar. They call the Holy Grail, right? The place where spiritual and physical laws meet. The spiritual aspect of sex It's cosmic. It's way out there. And if done in a certain period of time within your cyclical nature, it's going to manifest a physical being, potentially. It has potential, right? 333. It has a potential to manifest a physical being. It also has a potential to manifest things that we might not want to experience. So we have to be very careful of what we do within our sanctuary. People go to church. Like I said, I went to church this past Sunday, and there were some things there that I know I had to like kind of clear my slate with or whatever, because I understand what that is, right? I understand that the church is a physical manifestation of where people think that they have to go in order for them to meet God. And sometimes you're going to get there and you're going to meet him there. But if you can't take God with you everywhere you go, because you understand yourself as a sanctuary, you understand yourself as a temple, then you're going to take anything. And we need to be able to understand, how do we restore our balance to that? So we're going to pause for a minute, and we're going to journal for a minute. And I need you to understand that. I need you to write it down. Where do I need to restore just balance within myself this week? And when I say just, I mean like weigh it out for yourself. Where are you giving too much? Where are the tides too high? Where are my emotions swinging left to right? You know, where do I feel broken? And if none of these apply to you, that's great. Share in the comments what it is that you feel like you're doing that's right. But I'm going to guarantee you, the way that we are showing up in the world right now is not. I see so many different things on the internet, and like a lot of miseducation around menstrual health and all the different things and what it is and how we want to be able to use it in this really like it's almost kind of distasteful of the physical law and the power of what it really is. And when we don't really understand it as sanctuary and what sanctuary really represents, I remember I said to you guys a while ago about, being covered by the blood, and I've been doing a lot of research on blood rituals. It's so many blood rituals in the Bible that it's not even funny, and what I'm understanding and learning too is that a lot of those rituals, they haven't worked, because if they worked, we wouldn't be in these certain perils and conditions that we are here today in the world. We would be better off. And I think it's because we don't really understand the spiritual and the physical laws that's in our blood, like that's in our DNA, that's in our identity. And so I want you to write this down. Like, write down, where do I need to restore just balance within myself this week? This week, what do you need to do to really sharpen the identity that you have? Like, whether you practice Islam, whether you practice, Hinduism, whether you practice Christianity, like, where do you need to find your balance at with your creator? Because when you find that balance, I guarantee you, your blood is going to show up with you too. Your inconsistencies within your cycle, the hormone imbalances, like all of these things are going to show up, and you're going to meet them in the secret place if you just write it down. My aunt told me when I was visiting my best friend, her mom passed, and I was visiting her before I came back to Oklahoma City, and we sat and we had a great conversation, and this is where this message came to me today. She was talking to me about balance, and I could get emotional with y'all today, and I hope that I don't cry on this line, but I just want y'all to know that when you get in alignment with Creator, not with the creation, right? because the creation is doing what the creation is doing. The moon is doing what it's going to do. The sun is doing what it's going to do. The rain, the trees, the birds, the animals, all of that stuff is doing what the will of God has designed it to do. So how do we do that? How do we get in alignment with the will of whoever it is that we have decided that we want to be able to align ourselves with? And that's when we start to restore the balance. Is when we get committed. My friend told me that I was a polygamist, that I was a spiritual polygamist, and I almost had a heart attack. I was really frustrated by that. I was really frustrated by it because I was like, what? What do you mean? You know, I didn't know how to address it. And when I thought about it, I was like, whoa, you know, there is a requirement. There is a requirement that we have spiritual monogamy. We want our men to be monogamous. Most of us. We don't want our men out here cheating. We don't want them out here sleeping with multiple women. We want to be the one. And I believe that when we show up and we teach this construct to them, that we don't choose one either. We choose whatever gets to speak into us spiritually. And then we try to use it to manifest things in the physical. And even sometimes when it do come out right, or it comes out the way that we might have wanted it to, it could have been so much better if we really would have had the understanding to embody that ritual, not in just Christ consciousness, but to embody that ritual in the fulfillment of the divine feminine of what came through the order of what Christ Jesus created, right? And that order showed the power of a woman, a virgin woman. You know, that's the story, right? We got 101 stories. We could talk about that, and we ain't gonna talk about all of them today. I'm just talk to the one that is the most linear, right? And having to come through a woman, one that took away the construct of like women and blood and how we were misaligned, you know, how we were impure, you know, like it changed the covenant. The blood became the covenant, and it was through her blood. And so if we all came from the same God, then that same blood is in us. So we have to be able to submit ourselves to the thing, the one, right? So that we can be able to restore the balance of our spiritual power. And I know a lot of us, we be like, you know, I got it. I can do all the things. You know, I had a situation with this young girl, and she was a little kitchen witch, and I thought it was cute, you know, but that she felt moved to do these specific practices that would cause harm. And so I had to ask her, I said, so what is it that you want in return? What kind of balance do you want with that? And she paused because she never thought about the karma, the consequences. There's good and bad. So just because you put something out there in the universe that you feel like is like in your vengeance, you know, you don't think that it'll come back to you. It might not come back tomorrow or the next day. It might not even come back in your lifetime. But what about your bloodline? And so we don't think about that. So when we talk about doing this moon cycle work, we're not just doing the moon. The moon cycle is all about about illumination. But that illumination is also what's the word? It just came to me. The illumination is also an illusion. because we only know it in part. Revelation is only in part. And so when we make decisions to do things out of balance, if our hormones is out of check, if our heart ain't light as a feather, we make stuff happen that we don't even know that we are making a mess of. And then you come up and you say like, oh man, I did not know, this is why this is happening, this is why that's happening, you know, because you are practicing out of alignment, out of misalignment. And I think it's important that we tap in and we know that, especially when we talk about these sisterhoods and we talking about really building clarity around the power that we have, you know, we can tap back in. And I'm a firm believer that when you do ritual, it's not that doing ritual is bad. It's what is your intention? Where are you placing this spiritual practice at in the physical law when they meet? What are you conceiving? What are we going to give birth to from within our inner sanctuary? So I want you to take this note, this prescription. And if this is something that you feel called to do, I want you to get you a white candle for clarity and a pink one for compassion. Because I think that's another part of what we are missing. We are missing compassion. And we can't have clarity without compassion. And I want you to take, if you got some frankincense oil, and I want you to put some on your wrist, and I want you to put some right above your womb line. And I want you to speak aloud. I want you to speak aloud, and I want you to say, I am in alignment with the rhythm of my divine order. And I honor the law of balance within me, because balance is a law. I align my rhythm with the divine order. And I honor the law of balance within me. You can't be too dark and you can't be too light. Toxicity is toxicity. But when you light that white candle for clarity and that pink one for compassion, I want you to understand what you're doing. You're shining a light on the balance. You're weighing the scales of order. Because the first tool that we had was fire. And when you light those candles, I want you to dance slowly. And I want you to sway like a scale and find your balance, feeling your rhythm, right? And I want you to breathe and feel your pulse. Feel yourself coming into alignment. Feel yourself coming into balance. Feel yourself leaving that falsehood of balance, because the falsehood of balance, right? It don't have no justice. Ain't no justice in being overworked and tired. Ain't no justice in resentment. You know, there's no justice there. You know, there's no justice in holding on to stuff that's not serving you. There's no justice. It's time to be renewed. And so you dance in that renewal. You dance and you use the frankincense oil is the scent to bring and to open you and expand you so that you can really be in alignment with the divine order. Because the divine order is that first you gotta choose. Choosy lover, girl, you are so choosy. You gotta choose. You gotta choose how you want to be honored. You gotta choose how you want to be able to reciprocate and put that honor back out there. so that it can be used and so that it can be harmonized and magnetized into the fulfillment, right? I hope this is hitting where it's supposed to, because I really be feeling like, oh my God, sometimes, and I told y'all, there's stuff that I be wanting to say, but I don't say it because I get nervous. But I can't be nervous. I can't be nervous no more, y'all. So, how many of y'all know about the firmament? Hey, Kenyatta. You know, how many of y'all know about the firmament in Genesis when it talks about the firmament? That's another thing that, like, when I tell you I've been in the book, I've been like doing this really introspective research, and I'm finding the balance in it all. But in Genesis 1:14 it says, and God said, let there be lights in the firmament of the heavens and divide the day from the night, and let them be for signs and for seasons and for days and for years. This was a testament or a prophecy that the moon has always been a divine calendar. Let there be lights in the firmament of the heavens and divide the day from the night. This is the balance. Why do you think we got 24 hours? We got 12 daytime hours and 12 nighttime hours. And let them be for signs and for seasons and for days and for years. This is the math. This is the sacred mathematics. And this is for a reminder of the time that we on. In time and made of time. So there's going to be three parts, like the Holy Trinity, right? There's going to be the time when we talk about on time, which is God, which God is always on time. In time is the present, is where we are in this physical realm and manifestation, and the made of time is the fulfillment. What are we doing with the three? So as we flow through this week, I want us to carry the assurance of that balance. It's not about perfection. It's about our devotion. Our devotion to showing up, our devotion to listening to our bodies, and our devotion to returning to the center again and again and again. And we get to do this about 500 times in our lifetime. It was a baby here Sunday with her grandmother and her mom, and she's 9 years old, 8 or 9. I think she started her cycle like 8. So she gonna have about 500 cycles. She gonna have 500 times to find the balance. But the way we teach her about the devotion to that balance, it's not a devotion to the moon, it's not a devotion to the cosmos, it's a devotion to her inner guiding system that she was born with. Right? It's about her devotion to that inner guiding system, which is her Christ centering. It's her mtDNA. And if we're gonna take it all the way back to that concept, it's to her own come to Jesus moment. I'm gonna close this out, and I know that we plan to go to 4:44, but I have to get my boys from school, and I want to be on time to my son's last football game for this season. And I want you to think about this. You are not balanced by the moon, because the moon is just a tool. You are balanced like the moon, because the same thing that created the moon created you. The same God that created the moon created you. So you are balanced like the moon. You are guided by the divine law that is working in alignment with the law that was put in place for the moon to be a calendar system. That's why we call it your moon cycle. You know, a girl was like, what is it? I've never heard of moon cycle. It's the rhythm of creation. It's the rhythm of creation. So when we think about this, I want you to affirm that I am balanced like the moon, and I'm guided by divine law and held by the rhythm of creation. You are a part of the creation. You are not the creator. Even though there are things that you can create, there are things that you have no control over. And that's when you start to understand, and you become imbalanced, when you start thinking like, oh, I can do this, and this. You can, because it was written that we can. But just because you can don't mean you should. We don't even ask for permission no more. When we don't honor that law of balance. It's like, oh my God, I wish I could just get an airplane. You don't even know how to fly an airplane. Why you need a plane? You can't even afford to put gas in your car. Why you need an airplane? Like, let's just be real, you know, when we're talking about the things that we can do. Let this moon be a sign to you for the seasons. And we get 4 of them as women. We get a lot. We got a lot to be thankful for. And we get these for days. We get these for years. And we get this big responsibility very young. This big reproductive responsibility very young. We get to produce what we want. And when we don't understand the law and the balance of it, we don't have the harmony behind it. And that's another reason why, like, this came up to me too, is that, like, the mother wounds. We don't get the harmony behind it because we have to still fill the holes of the mother wounds that we had. We still got to heal that. And we can't heal it in our sister circles because we can't even build the relationships that we need because we're too busy in competition. Ain't no competition when you're in alignment with the rhythm of your own divine order. When you know how to honor that law that's already within you, you ain't got to be in competition with nobody. Your light burn, your flame burn just like hers do. Your gift might be different though. I'm sure it is. Everybody's clarity and intuition ain't gonna work the same. Your intuition might be research, where another's intuition might be observation. It might be writing it down. Somebody else's might be singing it. Somebody else's might be creating food for, you know, some, like, we got too many gifts to be worried about whether or not somebody's gift is better or lacking. You know, yours might be dancing. Yours might be the capacity to breathe. Somebody else might not know how to breathe right. But guess what? You can show them, and show them through devotion. You can show them through listening. You can show them through centering. We're here to teach each other how to be better. And that's what this promotion is about. That's what this group is about. This is what being able to come and get a consultation from me about your moon cycle alignment and how to master it is about, coming into divine order. It's about being able to say, you know what? I'm not going to keep overgiving. I'm not going to be casting my pearls among the swine. It's okay for some things to be gate kept, because I'm not going to lose my equilibrium. That's been done already. My mother didn't have her equilibrium together. My grandmother didn't have her equilibrium together. The irregular periods running my family, not with you, not no more, because you gotta change your habits. You gotta get your heart right. You gotta get your hormones in check. You gotta be able to ask for what you need. You gotta feed your needs, not your greed. That's what the pastor said this week in church. He said we feed, we don't get our needs because we're too busy trying to feed our greed. It ain't about what you want a lot of times. It's about, what do you need? Are your needs being met? Are you under receiving what you need? Because that'll throw you out of balance too. Are you around people who can feed you what you need? Are you around people who can nourish you? Are you around people who are taking your energy, or are people giving you energy? Are they making deposits or withdrawals? And you also got to look at where you are within your cycle when you giving. You ain't supposed to be giving when you ministrating. Not no heavy give, not no big give. You're supposed to be receiving. And I know that's hard, because we still got to live life. We still got kids. We got to maintain. We got to do, right? So that we can be renewed and we can experience that rebirth when we come to our follicular phase. This is about productivity. It's about how do we practice productivity? How do we practice productivity? We find balance. People be like, ain't no balance. Like, in business, they be like, ain't no balance. You got to go hard or go home. Not over here. Rest is our revenue. So we seeking balance. What's that song? The sister sing, Doing Balance. Changing Frequency. She got that song, Doing Balance. I'm gonna find it and put it in the group, so that we can move through our ovulation with radiance, and we can just be free and let go. And that's what that's about. Ovulation is about letting it go, letting it all hang out, so that when we get to our luteal phase, we can reflect on what we did and we can refine it and do it better the next time. So I hope this helped y'all today. And if it helped y'all, give me some hearts. Let me know how it made y'all feel. And I feel like I have to come with this kind of energy, because I was struggling, y'all. I was struggling to talk about the God power that we had, and I didn't have the words. But the words are starting to come now. It's almost like I felt like I couldn't hear God really giving me all the things that I needed to manifest the balance in the whole space for God the way that I wanted to, because there's a lot of things that are transitioning in my life. But I believe that God is allowing me to see it, right? Is allowing me to see it, and to see it in the way that I can brand my business. Like this kingdom business here. This ain't me just doing this because like I want to be a billionaire, right? We all want to get there, right? Because in this society today, you're going to need it, because not so you can just have it and have it to yourself, but so that you can do things for others who would not otherwise have access to it, because they might not have the mindset that you have. So we're doing balance. And I'm going to share the affirmation card for this week with y'all. And I hope that y'all enjoy the rest. If y'all local, Make sure y'all come by on Halloween night from 7 to 9. We'll be giving out the treats and stuff for the girls. For the young administrators, come by and get some emergency period kits for them. And also for the first 10, don't forget to get standard cycle beads so that you can have that information and tie it in tandem, teaching them about how to track their cycles and being able to navigate that in a way that makes sense for them, right? And what else? Oh, if you homeschool, we're doing a thing on Tuesdays and Thursdays for homeschoolers that you can come in, and we're going to be doing educational programming for the young administrators so they can learn. One, they get to make jewelry, they get to do crafts every week on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and it's $25 per session. So hopefully, you know, that is something that we can work out. It doesn't break the bank. And then if it's for after school, we have it from 5 to 7, same days, Tuesdays and Thursdays. From 10 to noon, and then from 5 to 7. So reach out. I'll put all the information in the group so that y'all can have that too for those of you who are local. I'm also creating and working on a virtual program like that so that I can make sure that those individuals who are not local can get access to this. There's a lot of ways that I want to be able to show up in this work. And if you are not local and you want to start hosting these types of events in your city, please reach out to me and we can get some things in alignment so that I can get you packets and kits and things like that to your city so that you can start really teaching and providing this information to the young administrators in your community or whatnot. And we can get this word out there. And I love y'all, and I'll talk to y'all soon, okay? Love, light, liberation. Peace.